Welcome to the June 18th, 2018 YourLIVINGBrand.live show. Hi, my name is Ben Baker. My company is Your Brand Marketing. What do? We work with customers to tell their stories. We consult, we provide workshops and keynote addresses on brand, message, market, vision, and value. Well, what does that mean? What that means is we're the storytellers of your brand. We want to know who you are, what you do, why you do it, who you do it for, and more importantly, why do they care? Because when people care, you stop being a commodity. You stop being one of many and you start being one of one. You start being a trusted partner. You be the one that people pick up the phone and they call. You're the one when they have a problem that they come to fix that problem. And that's about building trust. And trust is an enormously important part of business today. Now, when we tell these stories, we want to find out what makes you valuable. And that's what this show is all about. This show is about what makes companies valuable. Every week on the YourLIVINGBrand.live show, we interview another company. We want to find out what makes them special and what's their story. You know, who do they talk to? Why do they talk to them? Why do these people find them interesting? And this week is no different. This week, we're interviewing Ivica Baraba from Pez. Now, Pez is from Croatia. It is a bespoke company that makes promotional products that are absolutely custom for the beverage industry. And I'm going to let Ivica tell his story. So sit back, enjoy the interview, and I'll be back when we're done. Ivica, thank you very much for being on the show today. Thank you very much for coming to us all the way from Europe. I appreciate you making the time.
Hello, Ben. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure.
Now, where exactly are you? Are you in a small town? Or are you right in the capital? I can't remember where you are.
Yes, I'm sitting right now in my office in the capital in Zagreb.
Yeah.
Zagreb is not at the coast, unfortunately. But it's not far away. We are about 1.5 hours by car away from the Adriatic Sea, which is part of the Mediterranean.
Right. So let's get into the meat of things, because you have an incredible story to tell. Your company is an amazing story. You guys do some incredible things. So let's get into it, because this is all about how do you add value to your clients. Like, people want to know, what do you do? Why do you do it? Who do you do it for? And why do your clients come back to you year after year after year? Because they do. I mean, we can't, obviously, because of a lot of what you do is under non-disclosure, we can't mention the clients' names themselves, because there's some of the biggest, alcohol companies in the world you work with. But tell me a little bit about what you do, what kind of things you do for them, and what makes you guys special and different, because you really are.
Thank you, Ben. Yes, we have been around since quite some time, for more than 25 years now. The company name is Pez. Mm-hmm. It's located here in Zagreb, Croatia. And we are a creative workshop that is crafting premium and bespoke branded merchandise. This means promotional products and point-of-sale materials. Throughout the last 5 years, we have focused in on global beverage brands. This means particularly premium spirits, premium beer, and soft drinks. So what we do for them, we develop concepts, we design promotional products, and produce them in-house. So everything is actually happening under one single roof. We have a multidisciplinary team of product designers, engineers, craftsmen, and marketers who are able to develop unique concepts that help our customers connect to their audience.
Right, and I'll link to your website when this goes live. But it is absolutely amazing, the beautiful stuff that you do. And what makes you guys so special is probably your process, because you guys don't do normal everyday promotional products. What you do is very, very custom. So talk me through the process. Tell me a little bit about the process and why your customers find what you do that different and that unique and that valuable, and why they come back to you year after year.
Yes. Well, our clients come back to us primarily because we, as you said, we have a unique methodology. We have gone through a few thousand iterations of creating bespoke, unique, custom-made products. So we have the capabilities, the experience, and the I would say it actually starts with the mental model. Then we have the knowledge and the factory capabilities. This means that a broad range of technologies that enables us to bring unique products to life. So what happens for our customers when they think about developing a unique and bespoke concepts, they often think about early experiences before they have not worked with us, where they had experienced a lot of pain in bringing these type of products to life. And
there is a lot of pain that goes through this, I'm sure.
Yes. Usually it sometimes can be hard to source standard type of products, which maybe are branded just by pad printing or laser engraving. That's often challenging enough. But if you want to develop a product from scratch that did not exist before at all, that tends to imply there are certain pitfalls that we help our clients to avoid. We help them develop cost-effective solutions which save them very concrete money. This can mean, for example, a few thousand euros right from the start, because the tooling, the constructional side of the product is not has not been developed well. So we come in and develop a better solution and save them very concrete money. We are able to do it faster than most others because there's no fragmented supply chain, because we have the creative services, the value engineering part, and the production all under one single roof. So that has a very direct impact on quality control and on lead times, obviously, because most of the projects are very, very sensitive, have a very, very hard deadline. So if you're not able to deliver until a certain day, in most cases, the clients don't need the product anymore, because there might be an event, for example, a trade show where they'd like to use the product, or they have a certain brand activation planned in the retail environment. Or it could be on trade as well, which is actually our sweet spot. We mostly work on trade related projects, some off trade related projects as well, but mostly we develop, for example, bottle glorifiers or certain displays, which help our customers communicate to their audience, to the consumers, help develop brand loyalty from these consumers. And actually, I would say our products help them create certain brand worlds that match the desires of their consumers.
Gotcha. So go into that a little bit more. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah. Let's say you have a consumer that walks into a bar, and now there is, of course, a certain game going on within this bar setting. And that game has to do with, on the one side, it has to do with visibility. And that's where we come in. Obviously, we help our customers solve these problems. And problem number one is, how can I make my brand visible so that my potential customers, those consumers, those that have maybe not tried my beverage, to stay with the industry of beverages, or those who already know and have tried and like my products, to actually stay loyal and maybe, and that's the best case scenario, obviously, to talk about the brand to other people. So to draw other consumers into this world. So what they'd like to do is, on the one side, assure that their brand is visible. This could be achieved through a wall item. This could be achieved through menu holders. There are many, many points places within the bar setting, for example, where that game is, so to say, played.
Sure.
And the second one,
it's all about placement and awareness.
Yes, that's correct. And the second one, and this is becoming more and more important, the second one is the whole brand experience.
Right.
So now that you have actually maybe placed an order, now you are going through, particularly in the realm of premium spirits, but beer as well, a word comes up again and again throughout the last year or two, particularly, which is called rituals. You want to create a ritual which is a memorable experience so that consumers are blown away by the experience. And that experience involves, nowadays, in terms of marketing, so many elements where you have to connect both online. I mean, marketing is it's a very, very broad term, of course.
Yeah.
There's so much going on online, there's so much going on offline, and now the real challenge is how do I connect this in a way that it's really relevant to my particular audience, to
Right.
the people I seek to serve. And that's where we come in, that's where we help, because our products are physical manifestations or physical representations of the brand story. That's how we look at it. That's how our clients look at it. And obviously the goals here are sales promotion, brand awareness, brand loyalty, offering memorable brand experience so that consumers are happy with their choices, and talk about them to other people. And that's what we work on every day. No two projects are ever the same. Every brand is different. Every brand is different, and they might try to appeal to a similar type of audience. Obviously, if they're part of the same industry, there are many different consumer groups, of course, but every brand is unique. So we believe that every brand deserves unique promotional products
Absolutely.
and point of sale materials, because these help them tell their story in a unique way. Maybe an example, Ben, if I may share.
Sure, absolutely.
I recently read an article about a bar in London, which I find very, very exciting. And that bar is consistently throughout the last couple of years, they're at the top globally in terms of the quality that they're offering as a bar.
Wow.
And they actually, the one of the managers shared in this magazine, in that article, that they are before they used to create the menus. Think about cocktails here.
Yeah.
It's a high-end type of bar, so they're offering some amazing cocktails. And now whereas before they had started creating their menus maybe 6 months before, thinking mostly about the ingredients of the cocktails, now they've started to switch to develop the cocktail menu, based on the type of experience that they are able to create around that cocktail.
Right.
So that becomes I would even go as far as saying it becomes somewhat of a theatrical experience in the most positive sense, because the consumer is sitting there and he's not only interested in the taste of the cocktail. Obviously, he's interested in the whole experience. So that means the glass might be something very, very special in a bespoke shape.
Right.
I remember one picture in that article they shared where there was a kind of a metal ant where the glass goes into.
Okay.
So imagine a replica of an ant, which is maybe, I don't know, 50 times bigger than a real ant. And then it's made artisanal skills, and you have so many different elements that help create this memorable brand experience. And now it becomes really an interesting upgrade to the whole game that we were talking about before.
Right.
The consumer all of a sudden decides to make a picture of that cocktail and share it online. And that's something of tremendous, that adds, of course, tremendous value to that brand. So where they started maybe 6 months before, now they're starting already a year or a year and a half to create these menus and conceptualizing what kind of elements could we create that, to develop that brand experience. And maybe at the end of that process, let's talk about the ingredients of the cocktail.
That's right. Well, the ingredients of the cocktail at the end become almost irrelevant. I mean, when you're building an experience for a customer, and this is what, from what I can see is what you do, is that you're creating something that is a memory. It's a story that they're able to retell once they leave the bar. Once they leave the brand, once they leave the trade show, the bar, wherever it is, and they have an experience and a story to tell long after that experience is over and gone. And that's what having something that's custom, having something that's unique, having something that's different, having something that speaks to a specific audience, because your Scotch audience is different from your rye audience, is different from your vodka audience. They all come to the same bar to do the same thing, but they all feel differently about the type of drink that they drink. And the more you can create that experience that brings people in, that makes them loyal based on how they feel about your particular brand, the better off it is. And and I see your products doing that to help people see the individuality and the uniqueness and the differentiation.
Yes, and you have touched on so many important points here, and because nowadays quality is kind of expected. It's not it does not bring the difference, because all of these premium spirit brands, of course there are differences, but in terms of quality, nobody would say, oh, the quality is not there.
Right.
They all of these brands, they put so much effort. Many of them are crafting these spirits since more than 100 years. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
they're really already reached a very, very high level in terms of craftsmanship. So the quality is there. What makes it different is, what story are you telling? How are you communicating and able to connect to your audience and create value for your consumers?
Right.
And that's the true difference maker. That's the that's where the game is really played.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could talk about quality in terms of pests as well, but that's something that people already, it's just, these check boxes when people connect with us for the first time, and there are these checks they need to make, and I
Right.
completely understand and agree with that. It's okay, let me ask questions about ethical supply chain,
Mm-hmm.
about corporate social responsibility. For example, we are certified by two different organizations. One is EcoVadis from France, and the other SEDEX from the UK. And we have audits happening for CSR, which cover labor practices, fair business practices, waste management, and all of these things. But these things are kind of expected. I know that not everyone is doing that, but it's, if we talk about quality, there is a certain level that is just expected from you.
But that gets you into the game.
Yes.
When you're dealing with your type of clients, if you weren't doing that, you wouldn't even be a consideration.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying that they have to tick the box. They have to check the box, because otherwise we would not be aligned with their global CSR policies,
Right.
which they value, which we value. So there needs to be a certain understanding right from the start that there are certain things that are non-negotiable,
Mm-hmm.
that need to be covered in terms of quality, in terms of corporate social responsibility. And that's actually something that helps us a great deal, and it's one of the reasons why we work with these type of organizations, because they look for these type of suppliers that offer them that. So
Right.
that's something where we can add value, because we cover all of these things.
Well, that's part of your brand story. Part of your brand story is, this is the level that we expect ourselves to be at, because that's the level of experience our clients expect us to be at, and it's a starting place.
Yes.
It says we're not going to be working with a brand that if a brand doesn't believe in these sort of things, they're not the sort of people we want to be dealing with, and they're probably not the type of people who can afford you either.
Yes, that's correct. When I'm saying global brands, there's a reason why most of our customers are global brands, and that has to do with budget, of course, as well. Not everyone can afford to develop bespoke products. It's
Right.
of course, to take off-the-shelf type of products is always cheaper.
Of course.
We
But
are
it's
not. I
but it's
will be
never
very
it's
honest.
never
We
as
are not known.
gratifying. Off the
Yes,
shelf is never as gratifying.
yes. It can't be. It can't be. But they have a place. They have a role to play, and we
Absolutely.
are obviously with this focus on premium and bespoke. We are a niche provider. That's very clear. We have 40 people here in PES. We do not plan to grow big. We never want to become really big.
Right.
Um, there's a reason why we exist since 1992, and we are 40 people right now,
Mm-hmm.
because it's an intention. It's very intentionally. We'd find it very challenging to keep the kind of organizational culture that we want to have if we
Right.
were to be much bigger. So that's important to us.
Yeah. But one thing I found that was really interesting, and something we talked about off the air, is that your clients invite you to their locations
Oh,
to
yes.
go through their history departments. It's not just talking to their marketing people. It's talking
Yeah.
about their brand history, because some of these companies, as you said, are 100, 150 plus years old. And the archives that these companies have must be astounding. So when you're creating something that is, totally and absolutely custom for them, those are where your starting point is understanding the history of who they were, who they are, and who they want to be, and being able to develop something from there. And you said you have the engineers, you have the architects, you have the product craftsmen, and being able to tell that story in a unique way is got to be valuable for that particular customer that can afford to sit there and say, you know what, see this particular piece I'm giving you, we have these custom made for us. You can't get this anywhere else in the world. It's ours, and we want to give one to you. And that's a powerful connection piece.
Yes, yes, it shows a certain level of attention that a brand is giving, of course, towards their consumers, and that attention to detail as well is very important. And what you mentioned earlier, it all starts from that point. One has to understand the brand in as much detail as possible, and we here in PES are very, very meticulous about that. Like
Mm-hmm.
we are as you said, being invited, and that's a great starting point to visit maybe the distillery and have a look at their archive. They tell us their brand stories, their history. Obviously, we have the internet nowadays, so we already do a lot of research
Of course.
beforehand and follow their social media channels, follow their brand ambassadors that are telling all of these brand stories. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of initial work that we put in order to research the brand, not only a brand that we work with, but the broader industry. So I myself and some of my colleagues as well are following and the whole industry of spirits. So
Right.
if I want to be able to help a particular brand, I need to understand the competitors as well. I
Of
need to
course.
understand the trends. I need to go. It's normal for me to go to several spirit or beer related trade shows throughout the year, which one could say directly that has nothing to do with promotional products or point of sale. It has everything to do with that, because if I
It
don't
has everything to do
understand,
with it because it's research. It's understanding.
yes,
It's understanding what the thought process is behind your customers' competitors, and that
yes,
gives you a huge advantage when you're trying to help your competitor
absolutely.
or your customer.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. And I have to say that uh, I come from the world of hospitality. I've in high school I used to work as a waiter, as a barman myself. I had studied hospitality management in Germany. I graduated in that. I used to work a while for the Ritz-Carlton abroad. I used to be part of that industry, so I have on a very personal level, I have a very strong passion and love for that industry.
Right.
So to have the opportunity to connect with that industry through, I think, and I didn't mention it, in my own family company, because we are family owned and family run company. Five of my family member and I are leading this organization. So it's a great, it's just great fun for me to follow it, because
Sure.
the brand, I love the brand stories. I love the products. I love the visual elements. I love the storytelling of the beverage world. It's just a very, very dynamic, energetic industry that I love to be connected with.
It's definitely an industry that's never boring, which is a lot of fun with that industry. It's an industry that's always pushing. It's an industry that's always looking for differentiation. They're always trying to get their word out. And it's
Yes.
amazing. There was a story. I mean, it's a little different, but the Masters banned the words dilly dilly. The Bud Light. They banned the words dilly dilly. You weren't allowed to say dilly dilly. On the Augusta Nationals golf course during the Masters this year. So what Bud Light did is they created 1,000 T-shirts, with the words dilly dilly on it, and we're giving it outside the gates of the Masters. It's just little things like that, just poking fun
Yeah.
of, of convention, and just looking for different ways to get a story across, and to build on a brand and build on a legacy. And, and some of them are really creative that way. So, some of them are, guerrilla marketing along those lines. And some of it is just giving somebody something so unique and so different that they want to display it.
Yes.
There's so many different ways to be creative in that industry. So, kudos for you for finding a niche and a way to be part of it, because it's an industry that's always innovating. And if you can be that innovative partner, there's a lot of value that you're providing.
Absolutely. It's just a very, very dynamic, innovative, energetic, open to new ideas, always seeking out new ideas. There's just a need to refresh the brand, to come up with new ideas that never stops. And it's great fun to be part of that industry.
Absolutely. So let me ask you one last question before I let you go. When you're leaving a client meeting, when you get in your car and you drive away, what's the one thing you want people to think about your brand when you're not there?
One thing, I think the
it can be two, but you know what? I always ask.
I would love to choose. Yeah, I would love to choose two, because they're two distinct elements. One and that always has to be the first, I believe, and that's the word value. There needs to be a very, very direct and clear value that we bring to the table, and that value, in our case, has to do with help them connect to their consumers and be meaningful to their consumers. And promotional products and point of sale materials are, of course, just one element out of many elements that make for successful marketing. And whenever someone is using promotional products or point of sale, they need to be very well aligned to all the other elements of, and that's one of the reasons why it's so important, the initial stage of research and understanding the brand and the communication strategy, in order to be able to fit seamlessly into that strategy and come up with innovative concepts for promotional products. So the first one is that all around that value, there needs to be a very, very clear value that I would love anyone who sits down with me after the meeting to say, okay, yes, these guys are able, I trust them that they are able to deliver value to us.
Right.
The second one, and that's something that I recently listened to a podcast where someone actually from the US mentioned the words in regards to a company that they recently bought. And that word is, he mentioned, like, someone asked him about the people of the company that they bought, and he said, I realized and noticed that they are just good people.
Right.
So there's something to be said here, and that's really, really important for us here in Passive, of just having a human, a soulful approach to doing business, because at the end of the day, it always comes down to the relationships between human beings, and that's something that is internally in PES for us really, really important, but externally as well. We pride ourselves on developing long-term relationships. We're not looking to have transactions with other people. We're really looking to develop relationships, and many of our customers are our customers since more than 10 years. So that's something we take great pride in.
Well, and your customers know that you're not there for the short-term hit. They know that you're not there to produce one product and then you're gone. They know that you want to work with them to make them successful year after year after year. And you're right, that's a matter of trust, and that's also realizing that you're a company that stands behind what you do, and that you have their interests at heart. So, good for you guys for understanding where your niche is in the marketplace, that you're not out to serve everybody, that you have a particular audience that you're able to serve in a particular way. And there's a marketplace there, and there's good, there's good solid relationships that hopefully go on for decades. I'm hoping that some of those relationships you have, go so your kids and your grandkids have that, those relationships. So
yes, if they choose to join.
Kudos to you.
I hope so too.
All right. Listen, hang out in the green room 1 second. I'm just going to say goodbye to everybody, and I'll be right back.
Sure.
All right. I hope you found this as interesting as I did. Now, it's important because when you find out what makes you special, what makes you unique, what makes you different, you can tell that story to the world. And when people listen, understand, and engage, it makes you valuable. And that's what this show is all about. And this is what we try to do for our customers. Once again, my name is Ben Baker, and my company is Your Brand Marketing. We consult, we provide workshops and keynotes on brand, message, market, vision, and value. We want to tell your story. We want to help you be different in your market, differentiate you so you're not just one of the crowd. You are a valued partner to your customers. But every Wednesday at 10 o'clock, this is the YourLIVINGBrand.live show. Thank you for being part of the audience, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great day.